Hi, this is Mike Larson for Money and Markets TV. Politicians and policymakers worldwide have their hands full right now. The European sovereign debt crisis, the double dip in the U.S. housing market, the resumption of the economic slump. Our leaders are floating all sorts of proposals to solve these problems. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There is no easy fix. The multiple threats facing us are the result of years and years of failed policies, out-to-lunch regulators, and too much easy money. The only cure is a long, drawn-out period of paying the piper. Heck, even Treasury Secretary Timothy Geithner acknowledged as much on NBC's Meet the Press last weekend. Economists say the Great Recession ended 2 years ago. And maybe it did for the fat cats on Wall Street. But for the folks on Main Street, things are as bad as ever. We were told that the massive $800 billion plus stimulus program would create a job boom. But this chart shows that the unemployment rate is far, far above where it was supposed to be as a result of that stimulus. It's higher than where it was supposed to be without the stimulus. In other words, we never got anywhere near the boost we were supposed to get from the almost $1 trillion in Washington spending. And the latest employment report showed only 18,000 new jobs created in June, the lowest level in 13 months. We're sliding back down a slippery slope, folks. So why didn't the economic stimulus program work? Why didn't the Fed's QE1 and QE2 programs boost the real economy rather than just fuel more reckless asset speculation? And why are repeated bailouts failing to cap yields on European sovereign debt or prevent governments in the pigs countries from tumbling toward default? Because policymakers are still failing to grasp the simple, undeniable nature of this crisis. It was created by too much leverage, too much borrowing, and too much debt. We borrowed and spent far beyond our means, not just for a few quarters, but for many years, so a collapse was inevitable. Sure enough, the housing and mortgage bubble started popping in 2005. Then the crisis migrated to the entire credit market by 2009. But rather than letting the cleansing process play out, governments decided to stand in the way. As a result, excess debts were never written off as aggressively as they should have been. Many of the banks that should have failed weren't allowed to. And many countries are now so indebted that the only way out is default and restructuring. But the politicians are so intent on avoiding another Lehman-like collapse, they keep propping them up with short-term, flawed bailouts. They're just prolonging and dragging out the crisis, delaying the inevitable, and running up hundreds of billions of dollars in costs in the process. So what should you do to protect yourself? First, stop listening to the happy talk that's being spewed in the mainstream media, and avoid getting sucked in by rallies like we had earlier this month. Instead, take immediate steps to protect yourself, not just against stock market losses, but losses on risky bonds, real estate, some commodities, and even currencies. You can buy inverse ETFs that hedge against declines in all of those asset classes, and I believe you need to own them. I've been sharing specific names with my Safe Money subscribers, and I'm happy to report that some of those recommendations are already heading nicely higher. Remember, the time for aggressive risk-taking is over. The time to hunker down is now. I'm Mike Larson for Money and Markets TV. Thanks for watching.